Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. This guy is a frost giant, or maybe an ogre, I guess. He's large size. He was from a pound shop or like a Euro City or whatever your equivalent is. And you'll see he's actually got decent detail in it, maybe not in the face. Yeah, the face is pretty terrible with this goatee, whatever that's meant to be. But it's covered up pretty well with his pelts and hair. Not exactly a dramatic pose, but with the hair and the wind and stuff like that. Which doesn't really make sense because the wind is blowing this way, yet his claw isn't going in the direction at all. But anyway, I won't be too harsh on them considering it was like a Euro 50 or something like that. So I saw it and I was like, that's perfect for a frost giant. So I went ahead and got it. There was a few other ones in the set as well that I'll probably show off at some point. But yeah, I really didn't do anything. I didn't even strip them, I just repainted them and maybe added these little gashes here with some green stuff just for a little bit more detail. Painted him up, and he's got a nice little selection of doodads, different belts and kind of furs, pelts, and this big interesting shoulder pad here with whatever kind of beast that would be. A huge kind of saber-toothed cat, maybe. Huge club here, which fair enough. I don't know. I don't know how he's carrying that really, and these little claws. But yeah, lots of different detail on him. On the base is just the cardboard with some sand and some snow on it to kind of make it look like he's on the mountainside or snowy terrain or tundra. And you see on the base it'll focus, there's a little kind of bunny rabbit guy. He was from a Reaper Miniatures set. It's like Familiars or something like this, and just a few little metal guys. So it's kind of thinking of an encounter where the players could be up in the mountains, maybe they're low on rations and they need to go hunting and they're trying to catch this rabbit. Maybe they're quite low level, we'll say, you know, and trying to catch this rabbit, and the rabbit leads him back to his friend, because maybe the rabbit is the little pet of this huge hulking dude. But frost giants, I'm not really sure about you know, their lore or anything in the game. These pockets look very small as well for his hands. Like, what would he keep in them? Doesn't really make sense unless he stole them off smaller people or killed them. Anyway, scale wise, that's him against the Reaper 28mm Barbarian. Pretty big. I mean, he's a giant, I guess. Frost giant, I'm not really sure, like I said, about the lore, which is like the bigger giants or whatever. But for, I think, less than €2, pretty happy with that. So next up is another figure that you might recognize if you're a fan of Disney movies. This guy was from, I think it was from a charity shop, but I think originally it was another McDonald's meal. And size wise, he's like, I think, same base as this, so I'm gonna go large, so that's a 2x2. Oh no, yeah, 2x2, sorry, base. So this is a figure of Hades from the Hercules movie, Disney's Hercules, and there's not much conversion done to it. It's basically just stuck on a base, and this kind of effect here is just from tissue. It's tissue and PVA again, like, I mean, it's kind of standard what I do. And just the dry brushing to make it so he's a flame elemental, or he's a flame lord or something like this. Maybe, I suppose, a fire giant, not necessarily, because I think they have like big huge axes and stuff, but he could be he's some kind of flame creature demon. Like he's got the kind of look. He's still got the Hades what's his name, James Woods, I think, did the voice acting in the movie. But yeah, with the robe and everything, and the paint job is really it's not great, but look, I like, at the time I didn't really care, and I love the effect of just the black against the yellow and orange. Really does make it look like fire to me anyway, like to that scale. It's really simple. It's just dry brush the black over it again. And scale wise against the Reaper guy, same again. This is kind of a few of the bigger guys that I've made in the past. This guy was just, you know, pretty simple to make, but it's just to kind of keep an eye out for possibilities. Like, this is made up again. This was just tissue left to harden with the PVA mortar through it, and then kind of built up into kind of a twirling vortex of flame. This is kind of, you know, interesting. I think in the movie he potentially would have had something like that as well, but it was probably blue. So another little guy that was made years and years ago. This guy was originally a little Bandai Digimon figure. Jesus, this guy was legitimately years ago when I was really just getting into kind of messing with green stuff and that kind of thing. He was very, I'll stick a picture of him up here so you see what he kind of looked like, and his name and stuff like that, because I can't remember. I thought he was called like Teddymon or something like that, the way they all used to be. So I kind of just went at him with clippers and kind of changed his changed his pose so he's kind of zombie. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with it. I think I just I had the idea of that his guts would be coming out because they'd be all, you know, the zombie fuzz, or not zombie fuzz, the teddy kind of fluffiness in the center. So this is like seriously a good few years ago. So you see the paint is like so heavily kind of dabbed on in the belly there. But yeah, and then it made a little heart there for kind of a Care Bear kind of look. But yeah, kind of just a zombie thing. I think I remade his arms with green stuff and with kind of claws from sprue and that to make him more of a zombie pose, and opened his mouth, just kind of put the damage in his head and stuff like that. It's actually pretty fun. I have no idea what you could use him for. I mean, I don't know why, but I seem to go for some kind of post-apocalyptic wasteland or kind of scrapyard look on the base for whatever reason. But I suppose I could rebase him. I don't think I want that. I like that he's kind of so old and stuff like this. But I'm pretty happy with him. Like just for something different. I think I've looked for the toy again, but I haven't really found it. But that's him against the 28mm. I suppose like a lot of things I use for the toy ones are usually bigger scale monsters, which is okay, I guess, because they're usually the more expensive ones, I guess, figure wise, like for D&D figures and stuff. But that's him anyway. Now this guy was made a good while ago. I was kind of just experimenting with some bits and bobs, and you'll probably be pretty hard pressed to figure out which part of it is the toy. But yeah, so the base is, you know, 40k plastic base and built up with some, I think it's cork and stuff like that, just to have some kind of interest in it. And so basically he's meant to be a wind elemental in this kind of tornado kind of style here. And he's just built on, I think it was a coat hanger that I just went at with pliers, just really kind of molding into some kind of shape. I don't know if it makes sense exactly. Elementals obviously aren't real, but to make sense that it's a tornado, like a living tornado. And you see his face here is actually the bit that's a toy. It's just it's all built up over a Spider-Man figure. I think it was from like a McDonald's meal. So you might recognize the eyes, but apart from that, the rest of it is wire. You'll see like here it's kind of something similar, like a rib cage or whatever, and just paper mache. I think it was when I was kind of discovering what you can really do first off with PVA and water and different kind of tissue or just paper. Like it leaves nice texture to be picked up with dry brushing, and that's basically how I just painted it. You know, I think it was just blue and then dry brushing with greys or whites. But yeah, just you can kind of do anything with it. Maybe from that angle you can really tell a bit more that it's kind of a tornado twisting, and then the brushes here, or the different leaves and stuff, trying to make it make sense on the base that he's just turning and whirling and constantly moving. And I suppose it's kind of similar to having limbs, the continuation of the whirling tornado on the top there. But yeah, I liked him. He was really fun to make and really fast. Like it was just in the evening, and it was just really just messing around with the PVA and stuff. And then it paints so easily because of just the details in the tissue and stuff. Obviously you have to leave it dry. But yeah, that's just all built up. There's no green stuff or anything in it. It's just built up with tissue and that. So it was quite fun. And like there's the scale wise by the Reaper Barbarian, the 28mm guy. And I'm pretty sure that's okay, like compared to this. Like the bases don't really bother me too much, because you know obviously you're playing on a grid and that for D&D and stuff, but it doesn't super matter. You can just kind of say where they are. But scale wise, yeah, I think he works for a larger one. Maybe smaller ones would be pretty fun to make as well, faster to make or more simple, but the same kind of techniques. But it's a fun one to try, and I recommend it just to have a go, especially on a larger scale miniature. You can kind of get away with a lot of kind of craziness, especially for things like elementals that aren't actually real. You know, they have like how you gonna make wind in a miniature? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of a crazy concept. But that's him anyway. Maybe I'll make something similar in the future.